What's going on, everybody? It's your homie Danny the Bull here with my homie Ron. How you doing, brother?
What's up, Danny?
Doing well, man. Bitcoin highest weekly close yesterday. Feel like in some bull run, vibes again. Just waiting on these alts. So we're going to talk about it all. We got a lot of Metacaders in the house already. I see a bunch of familiar faces in here. We got Bruno in the house. What's good, brother? Cash in the house. Andrew. Mother Chucker also, Meta Boy Chad in the house, Val, Pixel, Joss, Match House, HPR. A lot of people already here. How you been, man?
Good, just busy, like most of us these days, I'm sure. That's why I haven't been doing it. I hadn't done a stream in several weeks, actually.
Yeah, I was off for about 2 months. It was good. It's good to regroup and kind of rejuvenate because you're grinding all the time. So, that stuff is good, but it's also good to get back in the mix.
Yeah, weather's been nice where I live too, so trying to take advantage of that. It's only nice for short little windows of the year, so I've been trying to go outside and do some things like that more.
Touch the grass.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do? You go for walks and stuff?
Yeah, walks, ride my bike. There's a lot of parks where I live, a lot of state parks and greenways and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff to do like that.
Yeah, how you liking this market now, brother?
Yeah, man, I think what we waited for so long is finally, on our doorstep upon us.
Alt season. Say the words, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it happens overnight, but I mean, I think that it's finally at that stage of the market. I do.
Yeah, we've been through the last 4 years. Obviously, we've had ups and downs and a long, prolonged down period for a lot of altcoins, minus a pump in pre-Trump election. After he got elected in November, we had a brief window of some things pumping, but it was more like a selective pump.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a grind, but it feels like everyone says when everyone is giving up on a big bull run in alt season, that's when you get it. And a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people were questioning whether or not we would get to a nice run. So maybe now is the time.
Yeah, and nobody, myself, you, Dr. Profit, nobody out there can say, well, how big the gains will be. I think you do a really good job with your spreadsheets comparing like the top 500, top 1,000 or whatever to give some kind of ballpark, but we don't know to what extent things will run. But I honestly, I do think that it's upon us. I'm not saying we're going to go to all-time highs tomorrow, but yeah. And the market time leading into this, I have no shame in saying it. It was probably the toughest stretch that I've had in crypto during that. It was so scary to people. It's not that there's FUD out there, prices are going down. Hey, if you've been in crypto for more than a year, you're used to that. It's that it was happening when, like, based on a 4-year cycle, we're thinking, okay, this is when it's about to go up, and it was going down like aggressively. So it was scary. It was scary for a lot of people. It was a tough time in the market.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was, exactly what you said. It was the expectation, because we all had the expectation baked in that now is the time, like what we've waited for. We've been, accumulating and doing all these things and getting ready, and now is the time. And we had all the pieces in place with Trump and all this bullish news and sentiment, and then collapse. But
yeah, I know. And I was going to say something about it. I can't remember what I was going to say now. But yeah. We waited a long time for this, and I do think that we're clear. The runway is finally clear. I remember I was going to say, we did a stream a while back. I was going to look for it today and play the clip tonight, but I didn't. I forgot about it. Where we had like all those macro. I made that spreadsheet with the macro indicators, like the ISM, DXY, all these things showing that this is like the first cycle ever that it looks like we're getting all these things lining up. That was a few months ago, and all of those indicators are still on track. DXY, ISM, the rate cuts, M2 money supply, and you're starting to see that other piece fall now is the BTC dominance. I think people make too much out of that chart a lot. I said this on Twitter because people are always looking for some hidden answer when it comes to all this. That's one thing I learned from Al Brooks is like, not that it's simple, but sometimes this things is simpler than what you think. Like, you know, when it comes to these like exotic charts, sometimes he'll say, I mean, he's not really that big into crypto, but he'll say, you know, I don't know any trader that looks at, you know, these oddball charts. They look at the chart they're looking at. So I just think that sometimes people make too much out of the Bitcoin dominance chart, but it is situationally important. And this is the situation where it's important. And one thing that has happened every single time we've had these runs that we're looking for, it's dominance falls and Bitcoin goes up. When those two things happen, very good things happen. And that's what you've been seeing. Now it's not falling significantly, but you finally got some kind of big bearish kind of candle, kind of marking a top. You know, I think the top for BTC dominance is in. And I'd said that for a while. It did go a little bit higher, but not too much.
It just ticked up a bit. It ticked up a bit in the last couple of days, but
yeah,
here it is.
Well, when it had that long wick, I thought that was going to be. I didn't think, you know, I thought the high was likely in, and it went a little higher than that. But there was kind of a narrative out there on Twitter that it needed to go to 70%, and I didn't see the relevance in that at all.
Nothing needs to happen, right? If it's something, one thing that we've learned, crypto has had a very short existence, right? It's only been around for what, 3 cycles. This is the fourth cycle. So it's a very short existence. People get married to previous, you know, what happened in previous cycles. There's a lot of history to be written here.
Yeah, and people are saying like it rejected off 70% these times in the past, and it caused the alt run. And I think that was a bit misleading because if you go back to 2017, we talked about this on streams before. The alt run was like spotty throughout the year. Now it did pick like the end of the year. You kind of had like a blow off, but they hit 70% like January 18. Like I think that the run had already been kind of happened at that point. And then it hit it in like 2019. And that wasn't anything special. Bitcoin had a bear market rally. I mean, when it hit that, alts might have had some gains, but that was not a significant time like in the history of the market. And then it did reject off 70% in 2021. You have alt season. So that's one time. You know, I look at it more as every cycle has made a lower high. And that's what I would expect to see this time. And especially after we had that long wick a few months ago, that long wick up. So, you know, it looks like it's topped out. Big bearish candle a few weeks ago. We can look at the chart in a little bit. But yeah, that's what we want to see. It's not just that Bitcoin dominance falls, because if dominance falls and Bitcoin falls, that's a bear market sign. So it's not just all about Bitcoin dominance falling. It's situationally when, you know, and all these kinds of things.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, I talked about on my last stream how after Trump got elected and we had that little alt rally, Bitcoin dominance only dropped 5 percentage points from 60 to 55, right? And that was a noticeable rally in alts. I think that's when Metacade went to 5 cents and hit a new all-time high in December. So, you know, in previous cycles, when it falls off a cliff, you know, that's when you get that balls to the wall alt season. So we didn't.
I didn't think it went down to 55. I didn't think it went down that low.
Yeah, it went down to 55. I checked the other day. Let's get into some charts. Before we do that, let me just jump into the chat real quick, see who else is here. Then we'll get into some charts. Metaboy Chad, what's good, brother? HPR. Mohammed Siddiqui in the house. What's good? Doughboy in the house. Sean says, Danny, if you have the capacity, can you say a quick word about the recent tragedy in the DEVVE community? Yeah, this happened last night. It was really sad to see someone took his own life, put it out on Twitter that he was going to do it. A lot of people in the community tried to reach out and save him, even went so far as to call the cops and get in touch with the police. But it was too late. So that was sad. He was a great guy, always posting fun content and funny jokes. So really sad to see, and a reminder that, you know, we're all here chasing gains, but the most important thing is mental health and family and friends and life. So, you know, I feel bad for his family and hope they're not going to be okay, but sending thoughts and prayers out there.
Yeah, it's a tough game mentally on anybody. And I don't know if crypto or DEVVE or anything like that had anything to do with it, but
I don't think so. He was sick. Yeah.
What's that?
He said he was sick. Yeah.
Yeah. But it happens in the space all the time. You know, people. This is a tough game. It wreaks havoc on your mental health and your nervous system. You know, a lot of people know about the short reward thing with your brain and the dopamine and stuff like that. The way your wallet balances and unrealized gains, the way they fluctuate so volatile, it's not good for you. It's very, very taxing on your nervous system.
Yeah. So, if anyone's feeling a certain way, get down, reach out to people. That's not the answer. And again, wishing his family the best in tough times. Dirty Degents in the house. John S. We're going to get it. We'll get into some price stuff on this stuff. We got Ivan the Terrible here. VV Viral. Cool Mo. A lot of familiar faces. Good to see. Let's get into some charts, man. Do you have something to share here? Let's cook, Ron.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter requesting different assets to look at or whatever.
Let's go. It's funny because I think in my last stream, Harish asked if I was buying anything new, and I said, no, I'm done, man. My bags are packed. And then I went and bought some shit on this pullback. So the bags are never fully packed.
Yeah, I had sold some things on the way down and rebought them at lower prices. And then some of the profits I made from trades, I bought some of that. But I haven't put any new. I stuck to that, because it was, our back was against the wall. I never said bull market was over or anything like that. I, maintained, I thought that we were still good to go. And that's why I rebought the stuff lower. But yeah, it was a tough time because you really didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, it really did remind me of like COVID, even though with COVID, things ended up being okay. The markets went a lot higher. It could have not went that way. It could have been more of a global pandemic and more like, it could have been worse.
The thing is, you don't know. Yeah. Cause you don't know. No one can see what's to the right of the chart, right? We all just make our best guesses or whatever. There's always a chance that, that's the end. Right. So, I think both of us were on record as saying that we didn't think it was the end. But at the same time, until it turns around, it hasn't turned around.
Yeah, and I've been vocal for a while that that set region 68 to 74K in there. That's a really strong low for Bitcoin. It's going to take a lot to push it through there. So I knew, we had that and the 50-week moving average down there. A lot of people were looking at. So, but, if you would have got a weekly candle, a big weekly candle closing firmly below the 50-week moving average back in that range, but I even then I wasn't looking at it like, okay, bull market's over for 4 years, because at that point I'm saying, okay, well, the 4-year cycle did not play out this time and we're in something different now. We're in uncharted waters. So if holding things 4 years didn't work that last time, then don't do that again. It's just the market will come back up when the rest of the market comes up, like when the stock market comes back up or what, if that would have happened. So I still wasn't freaking out even if that would have happened.
Correct. What chart you got up here?
So Bitcoin, I always start out with Bitcoin because you hear, is this a double top, top of the range, all these kinds of things. So when it was up here before, I did a stream by myself. I remember when it was up here and I said, this is not the kind of leg that looks like it's going to break through this level here. Now, when we got this candle, I think it was something over here. Then I was like, we may be losing the range. And then we got this. I was like, well, we've lost it. But when it was, so I didn't say sell up here, but I thought that this wasn't going to break through. I was hoping, we'd consolidate around the middle of the range to form some kind of pattern and then break through it. Yeah, because we'd stayed up here. So, I mean, we were looking okay. But this is not the kind of leg that looks like it's going to break through the top of this range. Now over here, this is more like the kind of strong price action that you want to see. And if I could explain it, just look over here, all the changing bars, the bars overlapping, gaps being filled. Look, there is no trend here. Not really. I mean, it's a channel up, a spike and a channel up. which is very common when you have a breakout type move. It spikes up and then a channel, in which case there's a 75% at some point it's going to break to the bottom of that channel. But, you know, same thing through here, just interchanging bars constantly. Bars, you know, you got clusters of 4 and 5 bars overlapping. That's not really what you want to see. Now, this move up here, all right, look, the pullback does not, it leaves a gap. There is no pullback really. It does not come and touch these highs. You get some consolidation. That's okay. You get a breakout and consolidation, then a breakout from that. And look, so far, we have not come down and touched these highs over here. When you leave those gaps like that, that's a huge clue. That's a huge bullish clue out there, because it means that pullbacks are getting bought up quick, especially on lower time frames where people are day trading and they're like looking at the charts in real time and the most volatile periods, and they're buying pullbacks. So this is good. This is what we want to see. This is the kind of leg that moves up, especially when you look at it on the weekly. It's just green bar after green, but once I think like 600, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row. You got this gap here from this high to this low. It did not come and make a gap, touch that, and wicked up. This is strong price action. I mean, it's not like the best textbook example, just like green bar with no wick. I mean, but you normally don't get that, especially in crypto. This is a pretty good example of strong price action up, coming out of this low, out of this area here. You got a good reversal candle there, the follow through, then back in the range. And since then, you've been getting follow through. So say after this candle, we would have got like a little red one, and then maybe a green doji that overlapped all these and stuff like that. And it came down here and then it's kind of range. Okay, then maybe we're just going to be in the range for now. But this is a strong move up. I do think that that it's going to break through the range. I mean, maybe not tomorrow.
You think it'll happen this week?
I don't know about this week, but in the not so distant future, I think it's going to move around a little bit, and it needs to consolidate below the top of this range. The fact that price is holding above these candle bodies over here, like over this, that's a great sign. Like it's like price is being accepted above 100K. Yeah, and that's what you want to see. And I mean, I can't, that's all I can really say. I think it looks pretty good. It wouldn't be the worst thing if it formed some kind of pattern, like just kind of putted around here for a little bit, and then even came down to the bottom of the range like here, but maybe not all the way to the bottom, and then up, because then it would form a bullish head and shoulders, which is a pattern we've seen a lot this cycle. I think a pattern does help it. It doesn't need that, but I do think if it forms some kind of bullish pattern, that would help it break through this a little bit.
Yeah. Any price targets for Bitcoin on the net once it breaks?
Well, we can look at like some measured moves from like a bull flag, but there's a lot of places you could draw it from here all the way up here, from here to here. I know some 125 to 130 is a popular target. I don't know. I don't want to throw anything out there. I'd have to play with it a little bit with some measured moves I haven't done in a little bit.
Yeah.
With any of these current patterns. But I do like it to break out at some point. And see, this is we're at 105.3 now. This is very significant because the real resistance is at like 106. I had said that when we were back here. Like if you go down to smaller time frames, you barely have an hourly candle close above 106. I mean, I know there's some wicks up here and the all-time high is 109, but the fact that price is staying up here, is not just rejecting, and it's being like accepted up here in this level around 106. These are great signs.
And the weekly close was above 106 yesterday, right?
Yeah, just above it. Yep.
Just above. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we couldn't even get an hourly candle. Like if you look back here, any candle that is closed above 106 is like a little small doji and immediate reversal. And then you got a pump to come out on Sunday night, which from my experience, that's normally a pretty good sign when it pumps into the close, and that's what you got. So, I mean, everything that I could look at I think it looks pretty good. You know, the RSI, it's a good level there. We're over 50, but we're not overheated. Matches the chart pretty well. Nothing I really see there concerning. So yeah. So I know there's a lot of Metacaders here. That's probably the number one thing a lot of people want to look at. What a bullish candle there from Metacade. You know, and Metacade does that sometimes. Look at this over here and this big candle. And it's like it does that out of breakouts. Look at these huge candles. So I'd put out anywhere in the zone was a good place to buy. Set limit orders down here around 1 cent. And that ended up being a very good place to buy. You know, alts are a little. So getting this bearish candle after that big breakout, like if this was Bitcoin or like, I don't know, a bigger stock or something like that, I would say, well, you know, maybe just like a rangy leg, you just come back up here and it's going to form a bigger range or channel or something. But with altcoins, they're a little different. You have to give them a little more grace in their volatility. The fact this candle did close above those, that's a good sign. So at least we didn't get like a rejection all the way back down here. I actually think this is probably healthy after such a big move in 1 week to get a little bit of profit taken, shake a few people out, get it, change some hands. Metacade always has good volume, and that's great. That's great for exchanging hands and stuff. So I don't, you know, good that it wicks up here. 2 little wicks right there. That's good. Off the 20 EMA on the weekly. You got these EMAs starting to turn up. That's the 20 on the weekly. Some of these other ones, the 50 weeks, so all of them. It's like they kind of found a level where they all kind of met and crossed right before that breakout, and now they're turning up. Fundamentally, I mean, I can't say enough good things about Metacade, especially with the rest of the gaming projects just being in the toilet. I mean, just so bad. Most all of them. I mean, I'm sure there's been a few that have done okay, but I think you'd be hard pressed to find a gaming coin that, as of recent, did a 100% gain and only a 100% candle out there. So fundamentally, they're doing all the things right. They're just on it all the time, going to all the events, always doing updates, partnerships. I mean, you guys follow the Twitter, you know.
Yeah, I want to say they're actually like a 4x off their bottom, right? Didn't they go down to like half a penny at the low, and then they held up strong? Then they pumped, and
yeah, 10x. Oh, from here though.
You 10x, so yeah, from
they did from over here,
from half a penny to 5 cents in December. Then they held a higher low down to, you know, I think 1 penny. They held that, and now they're back almost 2 cents. So
and I'm glad you brought that up too. No, go ahead.
No, it's almost a 4x off the low, which you don't see other gaming projects doing that.
No, you don't see other gaming projects doing nothing right now. And the fact that it came down here, held this level where these previous highs were over here, didn't even get candle closes down here in these bodies. It's a good sign, you know. Didn't double bottom, didn't come down here to these lows, didn't even think about it. These are good signs. Those show strength. And I think I don't have any like inside knowledge about this, but I think they're going to get listed on Coinbase. I know they know people from Coinbase, and they've made contacts from there. So I think they're going to get listed on Coinbase. The only hidden alpha I knew is something that Russ told me like a while back that still hasn't came out. And it's something that's okay. So maybe that's still yet to come, but there's so many things going on. There's plenty of things going on that I don't know about, I'm sure. You know, fundamentally, this project is extremely bullish. I don't see anything, you know, overly concerning on chart. For a gaming project, I think you'd be hard pressed to find another chart that looks as good as Metacade.
Yeah, they've done nothing but build, and I love, you know, I touched on my last stream some of the recent developments with they have now like a mascot Max, which I think was really smart for marketing, for community engagement. It creates an original character that they can use in games now. They released their roadmap that has NFTs on it, so now they can, you know, create NFTs of Max, and that can be used as an in-game asset. I don't know if they're going to do that, but they have opportunities to do all these things. They have ClubCade, which is kind of like a private club that they started. And I think one of the best things about Medicaid that we talk about is their ability to pivot and, have an idea and start going in that direction, but then realizing that maybe the market doesn't like that direction, or, it's not working, and then change their mind and pivot. They were going to move to Matic, and they pivoted to base. They had this level up idea that they were going to implement. It wasn't working out. They shifted gears to ClubCade. And so they've done that time and time again. They weren't originally planning on having tournaments. And so they've shown an ability to do that, and that speaks to their leadership. So definitely bullish things. I'm very bullish on Medicaid, as are you.
I love to see it come up. Like from when I said this, like I thought things were about to start kicking off when I saw a lot of gaming projects start to come out. And some that I bought on the launch: Medicaid, Games for a Living, Playable Games. There's some other ones I had bought in the bear market, but I bought all three of those on the launch. I was early on all three of those projects. And during the run, late 2023, early 2024, Playable Games especially went parabolic, and Games for a Living did pretty good too. Games for a Living lived its first year it was out and basically an uptrend.
Yeah.
Medicaid wasn't as successful during that time. They had a little bit of pump or whatever, but they did not show what some of the gaming projects have done. But since then, over the year, and that's why building matters, fundamentals do matter in this. Sometimes we get conditioned to think like it's all scams and shit coins and none of it matters, but it does matter. Because those two projects, Playable Games and Games for a Living, they have, I'm not saying fallen to Games for a Living, I don't know what's up with them. They've in my opinion, kind of fallen into irrelevance. Playable Games, I think, still has a chance, but neither one of them are anywhere on Medicaid's level. That's why I'm saying I love to see this come up that Medicaid's done, being with them since the start, to where they were not really known by anybody, and now they're widely known and considered across the board one of the best projects in gaming projects in crypto.
And they're positioning themselves amongst the leaders on base, right? They're holding base spaces, leaning into the whole base vision. They minted their, I think it was Max content got minted on Zora, which is, Jesse Pollock's a big proponent of Zora. That's like you coin content, coin videos. And they minted their first piece of content, and Jesse Pollock bought 60% of it. So he's definitely aware of who they are. And, he's working on Coinbase now. And he said, when criticized about their lack of listings over there, he talked about wanting to have an abundance of coins on Coinbase. So they're going to, I think, support base projects. And these guys are, position themselves as leaders there. So I if you'd asked me a year ago, and I had been asked if a Coinbase listing was in the works, I'd say absolutely not. Or it'd be tough to get. But I don't know that it'll happen, but I think the likelihood has gone up. But we'll see.
Me too. Yeah, I think, and I don't have any inside knowledge on this, but I'd say I give it a 70% chance.
Look at Ron, 70%. You got me bullish, brother. Mohammed Siddiqui, do we doing price predictions or no?
I mean, it's really hard to throw these predictions out there. It depends on what gaming does this cycle and stuff like that. I tell you what, I'll do a stream sometime, and something I want to do is looking at what Gala did last cycle and some coins that did good, that maybe we get an idea based off those what it can reach. I'd like to say, yeah, Medicaid can get to $1 billion market cap. I don't know that gaming will get that. I just don't know what kind of gains the alts will get. But, I can still read candles. I can still read price action. So it's one of those things I feel that I'll know it when we get there and we're kind of overheated and when it's time to take some profit. But I will say I won't say on Twitter or even Telegram when and if I sell Medicaid, because too many people follow me that hold it, and I don't want to cause some kind of price crash or anything.
Yeah, I think I think it potentially could get to $1 billion. Not saying that it will. I think it's not easy, but the right things have to hit. That'd be about, I think, 50 to 60 cents. So we'll see. Even if it gets to half of that, I think 500 million is very doable for Medicaid. That'd be 20x from here. So
if gaming does good, if gaming has this the spotlight on it and pumps, I think it'll go over $1 billion. Now, if gaming is little subpar, just over diluted or whatever, then I think, somewhere 300 to 500 million, something like that. If gaming doesn't do well, if it does do well, then I think over $1 billion, and who knows, sky could be the limit.
Yeah. What are your expectations of alt season, like a true alt season, not like the selective thing that we had when alts pumped previously this cycle?
Yeah. Yeah, even like after the Trump thing, that was real selective. You basically had Dino coins and this little AI agent boom, which was real fishy to me that whole time. I didn't really buy into it. I mean, I found some early ones and traded them and sold or whatever, but I wasn't jumping all over myself going to try to find AI agents. But into 2023, 2024. We did have pretty good alt gains. And this is what I want people to remember. Like, those were some significant gains back then. BTC dominance didn't have a drop. We didn't have M2 money supply at all-time highs. We didn't have the dollar falling. We didn't have any of these tailwinds going on at the time.
Yeah, for sure. And that was when playable games did 100x, from like $1 million to $100 million market cap.
A lot of things did 100x. Yeah, Palm AI, a lot of things we have found did 100x. So we got great gains then. That was kind of like the appetizer. I mean, people that have been around for bull markets before, like these alts, they can just go print these big, stupid green candles just out of nowhere. And it won't last forever, but it will last more than a few weeks. So you don't want to sell too early. You don't want to sell too late.
Yeah, and people, I think, take that for granted how fast these things can move. I mean, as fast as something can go down, right, and crash. The opposite is also true. So you just got to know the game that you're playing, and let's see what happens. We got a question here on MLC, which I think is something that Cash had mentioned in the comments. A couple of people. I did a quick look at it in terms of like the website when he mentioned it. But you want to pull up that chart and see what we got?
There's a few called MLC. When I bring up coin market cap, My Lovely Planet, Mythala Coin, Malacoin, Metaverse Linker.
Yeah, let's see if the My Lovely Planet is the one.
Okay. All right, 23 million market cap, 94 fully diluted. So that's quite a bit of dilution, but without knowing the tokenomics, unlocks, all those kinds of things, this could be significant. It could be nothing. If they don't have any more unlocks this cycle or very few, then that's fine. If they have, still 75% of tokens or so to unlock, then that could be an issue. But I would assume that that those are further down the road. But like I said, I'd have to look at the tokenomics. The volume is okay. That's pretty good. When this come out? Came out last summer. Spike up. Looks like it doesn't have a write-up about it on Coin Market Cap. Let's see, is it on MEXC? Yes.
Did you switch screens or no?
Yeah.
Oh, there you
go. Okay. Well, on chart, it looks pretty good. Come down here, perfect touch of these highs here, and a bounce. That's great. That's what you want to see after this big move up. I'd love to have bought it down there. So yeah, it looks pretty good. It's something that I would look to buy pullbacks on. Maybe if you I tell people a good time these market conditions, because pullbacks can get bought quick. That you it's good to set limit orders. So we're gonna, you might could catch it down here again. Could come down there again. This doesn't look on the daily. It doesn't look like it's about to break through that. So I think it's going to come down here, maybe even a little lower, might even come down to there. But yeah, it looks pretty good. You go on higher time frames, looks pretty good. As far as the project itself, I don't see a write-up up here when I go to about, and then I don't know about the tokenomics, but it's newer. Few people that I know like it. So all in all, I think you could definitely do worse with a gaming coin than this one.
Yeah, it says the owners. Josh says the owners are the creators of Candy Crush, which is that's kind of why I like games for a living early on, because the founders are the founder of EA Sports and the guy who worked at King Barcelona, which put out Candy Crush. So it's always good to have experienced people behind it. Just narrative wise, people will gravitate towards it and it'll have credibility.
Yeah, I felt the same way about games for a living. I don't know what happened. They did this thing with these
diamonds. I hate that. I know, brother.
I don't know what that was.
Yeah, it's an in-game asset, I think. It's like an NFT that they have in the game that revolves around diamonds. I think that's something like that.
I guess.
I mean, Games for a Living was starting to kick around. They started an ambassador program. They partnered with Travlad, who's got a whole bunch of followers on X. But yeah, it hasn't. They don't have. I don't think they have the community that Metacade has when you're comparing the two.
No, well, they haven't had engagement. They haven't been doing stuff. They haven't been doing stuff. Metacade does stuff every day, literally.
Yeah.
They've been talking about these diamond jewels for on Twitter for like a year, like hyping this up. Like that would be a Monday morning for Metacade.
Yeah, no, for sure. John asks, "Is Mint Layer dead?" It's not. I don't think Mint Layer is dead, but the chart, it has not moved with the market. Right, the market's bunch of coins have recovered and done well. Mint Layer has not. It's at like whatever 00 or 33, 0033, I think. No,
yeah.
3 cents, a little over 3 cents. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, like, fundamentally, they're not. They're still working. They just released an upgrade recently to make them EVM compatible. And I think I want to say that they have a couple new things in production in terms of projects that are starting to build on there. I know that there was a setback with their DEX, the DEX that was building on there, and people got frustrated with that, but they're still building. It's just the price has not, it's not been positive recently.
Well, it actually was doing pretty good here, like mid to late March. I mean, it was actually going up, and other things were going down. So it was showing some strength, and fundamentally, I do think it's pretty good. Yeah. But this market cycle has not been kind to layer ones, especially lower caps. And this has crossed my mind before. Like, if all these chains aren't interoperable, then how many blockchains do we really need when even the biggest ones aren't getting, a whole lot of use? So because I saw some comments when you put out in the stream, and a few people were talking about Mint Layer. If you want to allocate some, because I still have a little bag of Mint Layer. If you want to allocate to a smaller cap layer one, I think Mint Layer is a good option. I fundamentally, I really do think it's good. But let's look at some other layer ones in the ballpark of Mint Layer. So TET is obviously one that comes to mind, one I used to like. Okay, it's done worse than Metacade, or not Metacade, than Mint Layer. And I did tell people that I was getting out, somewhere around here, somewhere in this level here, and not getting back in. I've heard some bad things about the team, that they're basically just living high on the hog in Dubai, dumping tokens every day to live a lavish life in Dubai. Somebody who's somewhat in the know told me that. I don't know personally, but it was somebody that I did believe. And I mean, it has all the potential in the world, fastest blockchain, soft nodes, all this kinds of stuff. But, I couldn't ignore this and the rumors and stuff. That's why I got out of it, because I had high hopes for it, because layer ones had done so great in the past.
I liked Tectum a lot. That was one of my biggest holdings. But yeah, once I saw key team members leaving in frustration, and I spoke to a couple of them, I kind of lost some faith in the team. But the narrative of it, fast blockchain with fastest blockchain minus sharding, and the soft note tech, which I don't think would really gain adoption, but like the narrative of it is good. It like accelerates Bitcoin adoption.
Yeah, and this is just looking at some other layer ones, and this is Berachain. This is probably a little bit of a misrepresentation. This huge green candle. I was looking at an exchange. I thought it may have got listed on early on, but yeah, I put it out to short this like up here when it was around $8. I thought it was not going to do well, and it had an overbloated market cap. And that's what I'm saying. Like these layer ones like this, just how much use is there out there for them? Here's another one I used to like, A0. Because it's like privacy and a blockchain, and it held its price for like well over a year. It held its price pretty good, and then once it broke this level and started going down, you got that. And I did sell some when that happened, that retest here, fortunately, but I still hold a little bag of it, and it just it's just these layer ones. What's happening on them? When you have ETH, people were questioning how useful ETH is and their statistics of online engagement and users and stuff like that. What chance does A0, Berachain, Mint Layer, any of these other ones have? There's a few other ones I could throw out there that like it wasn't a layer one, but it was a layer 2 that had a lot of hype around it. Manta, when it came out, it had quite a bit of hype around it. A lot of influencers were talking about it. They were talking about how much total lock value it had. And look at that. It's just terrible. That's just terrible. Like this is why I'm showing all these, because it's like a common theme with a lot of these layer ones and stuff. I think what you're seeing is, okay, if people truly aren't using the chain for whatever, then this is what happens. Now,
the thing is, it could catch a narrative, and it could, like, no one still uses Cardano, brother.
Right. But it's a little bit grandfathered in.
Right.
Now this is DEVVE has done relatively okay, but look at DEVVE it struggled too. Like when it came out, it was like it was just a straight downtrend. And it's the reason that DEVVE has even done this well is because the rumors of a big partner, maybe the NASDAQ or whatever. So this chart does look, I actually think this is not a bad price to buy DEVVE or to get back into it.
Yeah, I agree.
You're also betting on this whatever this partnership is to play out. That it is somebody big and somebody good, and that it's going to have some usefulness. If not, then DEVVE is going to probably follow just the rest of them, whether it's fast or not, whether it's ESG or whatever. I mean, like if you go to the Berachain website, they actually look pretty impressive with what they want to do and talk about and stuff. But when I first started shorting, it was like $1 billion market cap, and who does anything on Berachain? So I know it's not worth $1 billion.
Right. The reason I like DEVVE is it ties into the RWA narrative, which is hot this cycle. And their exchange that's coming out, DEVVE, is meant to tokenize real world assets, and they're looking to partner with, beyond even, the rumor is that it's NASDAQ, and we're going to find out. But NASDAQ has partnered with, they announced in one of their quarterly, announcements that they did partner with some blockchain, and they're looking to move in that direction.
Yeah, I don't think DEVVE is the worst price right now. It looks like it's kind of found a bottoming pattern that it has. I mean, it's not like a bullish head and shoulders or falling wedge or anything, but it's formed a base. And 50 cent, based off where it came out with and where it spiked up at, I think that's not a bad price. Say is one that I was pretty big on. I actually thought it would be the number one chain going in. I thought Say would be one and Sui would be number 2 out of the new chains. And I obviously I had that backwards, but at least I did have bags of both of them before any of this happened. And Say, it's struggled too, and I'm showing this because this is a much bigger, things going for it, users, TVL, all these things. And then Mint Layer, Tectum, all these lower cap ones. I mean, if Say can't make it, then those other ones are really going to struggle.
What's Say's market cap? 500, is it mil? Or
I would think it's over.
Yes. I don't think it's over $1 billion, but
Yeah, it is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, 1 billion.
1 bill.
Maybe a few weeks ago it wasn't.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
So yeah, around 18 cent, I longed it pretty heavily, and I'm still betting on it. I think buying pullbacks on say is. I mean, if you want to diversify into a higher cap layer one way you can look at it is, okay, I'm gonna put like 10% into say, and maybe even 2x leverage it. So if say just does like a 5x minus what I pay in exchange fees and what maker and taker fees or whatever, you could potentially make your whole portfolio back if everything else crashed. If you're in the high, lower caps, AI, gaming coins and stuff like that. If everything else crashed, you put 10% into say, leveraged it at 2x. If it just did a 5x, you would make all your money back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I do look at it like that with certain investments. I have it like I'm going to have this just for a certain price target, and I'm going to cash it out. I'm not going to move it in anything else. This is 200%. If it goes to this minor high, and then up here to the all-time high, you're talking about 400%.
Rookie numbers, brother. You have to pump those numbers up.
Right, and it should. If we have an actual alt season and bull run, say should make an all-time high. So. Yeah,
I can see a 10xing in a strong bull run. I could see a 10 billion on it.
Yeah, it's got a lot of things. It's got a lot of users, a lot of TVL, a lot of things that you look for in layer ones. It checks a lot of boxes right now.
Yeah, the thing about like something like Mint Layer, it's only like a $6 million market cap. It's worth like kind of a gamble, and I got mine staked, so I'm getting like 40% on it. So, we'll see how it plays out. Mint Layer and Tecton both ran kind of at the same time towards the end of that last big run that we had that you were talking about earlier. So we'll see how things move and play out, but it's good to be diversified and different things.
Yeah, I think the moral of the story is just this cycle has not been very kind to layer ones, especially lower caps. I mean, you see Say doesn't look the greatest on chart. It looks okay. And this is one that has a lot of money behind it, a lot of plans, like real life plans to be an actual legitimate blockchain and everything. So,
yeah. But aside from like AI, which recently bounced, the cycle has not been kind to most things. You know what I'm saying? If you're talking about alts, there's been the bigger caps, the selective ones, Ripple and all that stuff, XRP and all. But it's been rough for a lot of projects.
Yeah, some RWA ones have had their moments.
Yeah.
Some memes have had their moments, but
it's kind of having a moment right now, brother.
Chuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, good weekly close for Chuck, 2 in a row. Good strong candle. A lot of buying at the weekly close last night. So yeah, I think that I'm glad. Well, I'm not glad the market had this downturn, but in terms of Chuck, I think it's a good thing because I think a lot of these other meme, the space is oversaturated with meme coins. A lot of these washed out. They're not coming back. Chuck is definitely coming back. We're going to do everything we can to make Chuck come back. So it has much less competition.
Yeah, OG based meme coin now. I just hope that I know it's going to happen, man. Once this market returns and the scam, the shit coins come out. And Dave Portnoy. Actually, Dave Portnoy just got hit up by the SEC. Did you see that?
No, I see headlines about him here and there. I'm just not really pay attention to it much.
He was launching like 3 coins a day, like Greed 1, Greed 2. We're not launching them, but I think he did launch Greed 1, Greed 2, and Greed 3, like it was like a Rocky movie. And then he finally got the SEC sent him a letter. But my point is, once the euphoria comes back, we're going to see a lot of shit come into the market again.
Yeah, but if it's a mania phase and just a whole lot of money, then it can
correct.
It can sustain that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Because you saw that with, ETH Rock sold for how much in last cycle?
Millions.
So Harish is trying to trigger you, man.
Benjamin Cohen. Yeah. I'm sure he did come out with a chart that whatever. He just looks at it. He's like I said with BTC dominance, people trying to find things like these things that maybe aren't there, trying to make these connections of all these different charts and stuff. I think he's good for that kind of stuff. And
yeah, I mean, I look at the chart just to see it's, I guess where we're at in terms of like alts versus Bitcoin and things like that. But grain of salt always. What else we got here? KTA. Are you familiar with this?
mm-hmm.
I'm not familiar.
Well, this is it. Like just come out, just not much you really say about that. I wouldn't buy it, not yet anyway.
Yeah, wait for that pullback if you like it.
So I saw somebody ask about OORT, and they also asked about it on Twitter.
Pull it up.
So you can see this is something I've looked at before. I think I was looking at it recently even. It's a pretty strong fundamental project. If anybody follows Crypto Seth, he likes it a lot. He talks about it on streams. He's got a pretty good track record. When I looked at the tokenomic, and I do have a little bag of it. I don't have as big as other AI holds. 19 million. It's even fully diluted. It's way off of that. But it was their it was the tokenomics. I didn't. I'm trying to bring the website if I can get it up fast enough. I'm saying no connection.
Let me see if I can get it up. What is it? OR.
Here's the white paper. This is fine. Okay. This 65% reward to infrastructure providers. I'm not really sure what that means, but anything that's reward, 65% of the tokens are for reward.
Yeah, no, that's going to get dumped.
15% for early investors. That's I don't know if that's like LP providers. Then long-term partners. It's like where even is the liquidity? Then 10% for the team. I don't know these tokenomics, and maybe like it. I mean, Seth, he probably looked into it. It's probably okay. Maybe they have a better explanation about this 65%. Have mining tokenomics. Maybe talk about it some here, but that just I didn't like the way that looked, and I'm sure you can agree, Danny. If at first glance out, maybe really digging into it and getting in their Telegram and asking questions, I didn't love the tokenomics, but fundamentally, it is a strong project. So I do have a little bit of a bag of it.
Question here, Harish. We're gonna get to all these. Ty and Zeus.
Big time bullish on TARS AI. I've been real vocal about that for a while now. Zeus, yes, I am still bullish on it, but I don't want to make any accusations. So it's a real project. Like they're not shady, they're not a rug or anything like that. They have long-term aspirations, and I think they will be here long-term. But matter of fact, the person who told me about it, they think that the team is suppressing the price a little bit to try to they are suppressing the price. So according to them, they're not like don't have any on-chain links or anything like that. So I'm not like trying to make accusations, but he said they're suppressing the price because they're trying to facilitate more institutional BTC getting on Solana. It has to do like these guardians, or if you're familiar with the project. And if the price of Zeus is too high, it makes them harder to bring the BTC onto Solana. So I still like Zeus a lot, but I will be looking as Zeus pumps to probably scale out of it some and reallocate that into other things. With Zeus, I was never targeting some like 100x, 20. Zeus I thought was a solid project. That is a team behind it. It's a real world use case for narrative. You're talking about BTC and Solana, which have been two of the biggest narratives of this cycle. When you kind of back up not just like AI gaming, but BTC and Solana have done so well this cycle. You combine them together, and it's a real project. Got real people behind it, real people backing it. I do like the project, but I am a little bit, I'm not buying any more right now. And if it pumps and other things, maybe some other things I like have it pump so much, I will allocate some of that to other stuff.
Yeah, I like Zeus. I mean, I love that Anatoly backed it also, which again gives you like some faith in the project and what they're doing. But that's I saw you put that out in Telegram that perhaps they're suppressing the price, but I haven't looked into it. But I have a big bag of Zeus.
Yeah, and I still like it. I'm not like, oh, this is not like Tectum or anything like that. Like where I'm really, okay, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
You need to get out. No, I don't think that about Zeus. It's just I do because I understand the project. What he's saying does make sense that maybe they are kind of holding the price down to try to facilitate more BTC getting on the chain, but it's for their long-term viability.
Yeah. Other AI stuff. We're talking about ORT. I picked up some HASHAI and Astra, which Astra I did well on. You put that out in the Telegram early on, but I had sold it to move into some other stuff, and I just bought a little bit back on the dip, which Alex Becker commented. Did you see that on
Yeah, it made it pump some.
Yeah, and if he really pushes it, that shit'll pump.
Yeah. So there's something that worries me about. It's not only worrying me about it, but I think it's a good project. They've made it through the other end. Their price has held up pretty well. I don't have Dex Screener browser open, but it's their liquidity pool.
Yeah, I noticed when I sell and buy, I move the fucking price, and I'm out of whale.
Yeah, their liquidity pool is not good.
Do you have it open? Because your other screen is on.
No, I don't have a browser open for Dex Screener.
Gotcha.
But I also see somebody asking about XMW, and that's one I like too. I did get into that before it pumped. It didn't have as big of a bag as I like, but it looks like it's a legit one. I would buy pullbacks on it.
Is that something with like they power mining or something, or?
Yeah, it's got some real utility to it. Here, I'll bring it up on Coin Market Cap. It's not listed very many places. Like you pretty much had to buy it on Uniswap on ETH. Like, am I still sharing my screen?
Yeah, I see it. You're on there.
So yeah, you see this. It's on some weird exchanges and Uniswap. So 63 million market cap. So it's not a small cap. Kind of a lot to read here. I'll read some keywords: AI agent solutions. They name drop NVIDIA, talk about GPU servers. The project was started in 2021 in Paraguay to address the growing demand of scalability. You see a lot of buzzwords in here, but it is a little bit, I'd say, like AI tech in the way like they're trying to do several different things and to try to generate income, and that they do have some stuff. Yeah, they talk about this energy here. Yeah, utilize excess hydroelectric energy. Yeah, who knows if they're really going to do all this, but for something that's not hardly listed anywhere, I think it's pretty good.
I think Miles pushed it also. Miles Dusher, whatever his name is, man.
Mm-hmm.
Big kid, 24. I don't like the 5% buy and sell tax.
Yeah, I didn't even know I had that. To be honest with you, I didn't notice.
Yeah. HASHAI is good.
Yeah, that was one that I was really keying in on during this dip, and I built up a pretty big bag. Matter of fact, with the gains it's had, it's one of my biggest holds now.
Oh, wow.
HASHAI, it goes back to kind of like what I said about gaming. I'm not trying to not answer and be ambiguous, but when it comes to market cap targets, it really just depends on what the market is going to allow. Are we going to see valuations like last cycle? Are we going to see more this cycle? AI, is it going to continue to ride this AI bubble? If NVIDIA is putting out good earnings statements as well, that has had a direct correlation to AI cryptos pumping. So I think it just depends on some of these factors. If we have a real bullish AI run, then yeah, I think these coins, Hash AI Tech, TARS AI, they'll all get over $1 billion. I think if we just have a pretty good bull run.
$2 billion market cap is on the roadmap for AI tech. Did you see that?
Yeah, because I've heard some. Yeah, I think that's one of the things people pointed to, like them being like a scam, like a real project wouldn't put that. I don't know. I mean, with Metacade, Russ, he's not shy to talk about price or be bullish on it and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's one of those things, kind of like celebrating in baseball. You know, like some people think you shouldn't do it, then other people are like, oh, that's the old way of thinking. So I don't know.
Yeah, for AI tech, I was starting to question them a bit. Just like they're a little flashy and like their presentation is kind of like, these buzzwords. But then I saw a video, an interview, like an AMA with the founders. And so I was happy to see that they were stepping out and talking about the project like as people. And so that, that helped. And it's pumped, but they put $500,000 into the chart. They have $1 million set aside. I don't know if they're doing burns, but they're definitely doing buybacks. So they did $500,000 of buyback, and they got another $500,000 to pump into it. Astra AI also has money that they're using that's bookmarked for buybacks to help the chart. They're doing it on a quarterly time frame. Thing is, you got to know, what has liquidity and what doesn't. Like you said about Astra. When I sold, I had maybe, I think, $6,000 in Astra, and it took me a couple hours to sell it because I was pushing the price down. If I dumped the whole thing, it would have, I wouldn't have, it would have pushed the price down. And so I don't like that about it. Like you said, it's something that could send though. If Becker continues to talk about it, and Becker mentioned Metacade, or at least responded to acknowledge it.
Well, they're in Neo Tokyo, so
yeah.
So
he did a space. Russ did a space with LEO Trades also.
So Astra has a 370K LP at a $16 million market cap.
Is that 5%?
Chuck has, at 700K market cap, or 670, 232K.
Yeah.
So, it's not that much different in liquidity pool with a much lower market cap. I mean, it's pretty low to have a market cap that high. It is, but they do a lot. I like the project. If we get bull run, they get more exchanges of volume, then all that stuff will sort itself out. But that is the one thing that I would caution about Astra, to maybe not make it get overly bullish on it, because that is a little bit of a red flag. AI tech, my thesis on it was always the same. It did have some scammy vibes. I understand some people thought, it's a little scammy. Who knows if they're really building this data center? But then they would post construction and receipts of it, and then people oh, that was weird. So I mean, damned if they do, damned if they don't. But to me, it was like a real project. They're trying to do things. Several different things they were doing. AI as a service, AI agent stuff, marketplace, launchpad. They had a lot of different facets they were shooting for. And
they launched a couple of projects on there also.
Yeah. And if the data center was real, to my understanding, that's something that is actually needed in Europe. And if they integrate their token into it somehow, and you can use, companies use the data center with their token, I mean, that sounds like exactly what I'm looking for this cycle. That could print huge, huge gains. Now, with any of these coins, I understand that none of them are slam dunk. That's why, I diversify and everything like that. But AI tech was one of my biggest bags. That and TARS AI, I have more now, unrealized value of AI tech now than I did when it was at the bottom of its range. It broke through. And TARS AI, when it was up at highs, I have more value now. So I've done a good job with those, accumulating them lower, selling, looking to buy back lower. I actually just put out recently, I was selling some AI tech, and going to try to buy it back lower. I think it finally hit a place to stall out at.
Yeah. Props. We talked about ORT. Is props RWA play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks pretty good on chart. Looks like some other things, broke its range, found a bottom, double bottom here, some green candles up. Probably not a bad buy. Let me check the coin market cap on it because I think it's maybe a little bit higher cap. No, it's not.
Do you hold any?
No, I don't. I might buy some though after. I probably need to beef up my RWA a little bit. I'm not opposed to getting on another RWA project, which I've heard of this, but I never really gave it that much of a look. Is it on its own chain? I don't know. Props. In any event, yeah, it doesn't look bad. See, when did it come out? Late 2023, and then it had a big run up, and it's down to low levels of like when it came out almost. So probably not or at least where it listed on Coin Market Cap anyway. So yeah, I think props you could probably do a lot worse than props. RWA, I got a lot of RIO and Parcel, but props looks pretty good.
I have a lot of RIO. You want to pull up that chart? RIO went as low as 15 cents.
Yeah, I know. And so RIO is one I had bought such a low price in the bear market that I almost didn't worry about RWA as much after that because I'm like, well, I got a big bag of RIO I bought cheap, and
yeah.
Then, other projects come out, kind of taking the spotlight off of RIO. But yeah, good double bottom here. Bad downtrend, just like a lot of things. Pretty good bounce. Higher high. Looked pretty good. Maybe something you want to buy pullbacks on. For me, I haven't really messed with RIO at all. I haven't even sold it and bought lower just because I had bought a pretty big bag like down here, like the true lows during the bear market. And I was like, if it does good, then I'll do fine. If not, then I just won't throw any money in it, and I'll expand my RWA holdings with other stuff like LBM and Parcel.
Yeah, I got a big bag of RIO also. I did sell at like not I sold at like 20 cents or something, bought back at 15 or 16 cents. So I was able to increase my bag. I like them. They're developing an app where anyone can tokenize anything. Like anyone can tokenize like real estate and things like that. The thing about them is like the founders don't really talk too much. People get frustrated by that, but they did just finally start their own Telegram. The community's strong. Like if I put out a RIO tweet, I'll get a lot of reaction to it, which is a good sign.
My friend Crypto Lord, he promotes them. He's a big believer in RIO.
Yeah,
he likes RIO a lot. I know he's got a big bag of RIO.
Yeah, he does. And I think House of Crypto recently talked about it also.
Yeah, RIO's one of the few projects I hold from last market cycle.
Yeah, same. Did you still holding Naka? Did you sell? I sold.
I reduced I kept a little bit of a moon bag of Naka just in case. So I didn't sell out of it, but I scaled down on the position. I actually put it in Metacade when it was at 10 cents.
I moved into Metacade also.
That's exactly what I did with it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You like Top Hat at all?
You're into Top Hat. It sounds good when you talk about it, but I haven't really got into it. I'll look at the chart though if you want.
No, you can pull it up. It doesn't look great because a lot of those AI agents. It's an AI agent infrastructure play, which I like. I do think that AI agents can continue to be come into narrative and do well. So it's the first infrastructure play on Solana. They have they have a swarm that came out. I forget the name of it. Colin. Yeah. It went up a lot and then it came down a lot.
3.8 million.
No, I think it's higher than that. Maybe it is 3.8 million.
There was another one up here, I think. I saw.
No, it is. Yeah, it is 3.8. Yep. I think it got up as high as 100 when everything went crazy.
Yeah, I'd have to look into it a little more, but
I mean, fundamentally, I like it because
yeah,
the founders are doxed and making moves and working and things like that. So
that was another thing about AI tech that I was like, because a lot of these AI projects, the founders aren't docs, and AI tech they have been, and the people seemed legit from what I could research on them. So that was another reason why I liked AI tech. And Tars AI, that team was for sure legit, and the people involved in the funding around that project. So Tars AI and AI tech were two of my favorite holds. And then during this downswing, I really started liking HASHAI and got a big bag of that. AGI is another one I like. It's a bigger cap AI, but I think it's a little bit more of a safer play. I think it's still at a good price. It's had a bounce, but not like gun anything crazy yet. So it's still at pretty good levels to buy. And this is one of my biggest bags because I bought some down here, and you see how it went. I bought some here in the summer, and then I bought some in the fall of 2023. So just because I bought it at such low prices when it went up,
yeah,
it ended up being one of my biggest bags.
100 million market cap.
Yeah, it's not a low cap, but it's good fundamentally. And at this point in the game, I'm really, if I do throw money in it, I'm not really going for degen. If I go into some new coin, new AI agent or something like that, then I'm not looking to hold it for the bull run. I'm looking to sell it for a 2 or 3 or 4x or whatever.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Oh, yeah, just catching on. Yep, Doge, that happened. Unfortunate, sad. We've been on for about an hour and 10. I gotta go eat dinner, man.
Yeah, man, that's no problem.
We'll do it again. It's good to be back on stream with you, brother.
Yeah, man. So I'm gonna be doing a stream with Josh from Dirty Degens. We're gonna try to do it once a week. Nice. So I got that coming up.
My man Ron's cheating on me, man.
Well, he wants to get more involved in our community and things like that. So I'm sure you guys will be doing some streams too.
It'll be good. Yeah, I'd love to see you guys. Josh's a great guy. I chat with him often. So it'll be good to see him streaming with you. Looking forward to it.
Most people watching are probably already in my Telegram, but if you're not, hit me or Danny up. We'll get you in there. We got a new website coming out soon where people can pay for it with a credit card, and then it comes to us in crypto. So that should be nice for new people to crypto, that you don't have to worry about crypto transactions. You can pay for it with your credit card. So I'll be putting that out on Twitter pretty soon. Me and the dev are looking at it and trying to finalize some things.
Yeah, a lot of high-level talk in there from small alts to overall market moving and trading. You guys started trading when the market got soft, and so there are plenty of ways to make money. You've got a guy doing NFTs in there and stuff like that. So
yeah, it really just depends on what's going on in the market, and what we're doing, because the market gives you different circumstances and different opportunities or whatever. So you just got to take what it gives you. So it's not just like we're always doing this, we're always doing that. I will tell you that my outlook, I hope we get an alt season, and that's great. But what have we been talking about this whole stream? Alts that we think will go up and do well. And I think, everything probably go up even a little bit, but we're looking for the gems that are going to go up big. Well, when Bitcoin tops out, bear market comes, whatever, they all fall. All the alts will fall. None of them are going to hold up. So I'm really looking forward to shorting the alts during the bear market when things have topped out. I'm almost looking for alt gains as fuel for the shorts, because I think that's where the biggest opportunity in all of this is, actually.
Yeah, I got to start trading, man. I'm going to do that with you guys later in the year when, take advantage.
Yeah, man. I'm probably batting 80 to 90% here lately, last several months, with shorts and longs. So, yeah. So if anybody's interested in Telegram, hit me or Danny up for sure.
Yep, DMs. Last one real quick. Is the market cycle almost over? I think it depends on what almost means to you. I think we go towards the end of the year, maybe beginning of 2026, and then potentially over. But we'll see how it plays out. Same thoughts, Ron?
Yeah, I think we're just going to have to look at macro indicators and top signals and be reasonable, try not to get lost in the sauce if things get overly bullish. the way Bitcoin is going up, it's done this whole market cycle. Parabolic move up, consolidation. Parabolic move up, consolidation. I mean, an asset can do that for a long time. If it's decoupled from its 4-year market cycle, and which some people, and I knew that before this market cycle, that some people didn't really believe in the halving 4-year cycle, that it had to do with global liquidity cycles, which is what you're seeing line up more now, with the whole M2 thing in theory. So the point of saying all that is, it may not be this same 4-year cycle. I'm not somebody saying, oh, well, it's going to keep running into 2026 and 2027. It just may be more volatile, where it goes up, consolidates, goes up, consolidates. It could go do that up to over 100, over 200,000. It could go well into 2026, depending on what else is going on around it. Because one thing I've heard, anyway, a theory about when it comes to Trump is that he wants to get all this stuff, out of the way now and be the market's really hitting its stride going into the midterms next year. So if that's something that he's trying to accomplish, then maybe markets will be bullish next, a year from now, potentially. We just have to see. But I think there's plenty. In short, I think there's quite a bit. I don't think it's going to end in like the next month or two.
Yeah, we got some runway. So we'll be here to talk about it. It's good chatting with you and getting back on stream, and we're going to do some more of these in the future. Hit us up about Telegram if you're interested in that. And thanks for coming through, Ron.
Right on. See you guys later.
Peace.